relationship training, I want to tell you about a thing called the test. Now, the test is something you're going to experience in any relationship you're in. In fact, for a relationship to progress, you're going to have to get the test. And what the test is, it's an artificial situation that is created early on in the relationship, designed to test, ultimately, who's going to be in charge of that relationship. And my brother, let me tell you, it had better be you. The reason why women give that test is pretty simple. They know they're not going to get you to do what they want you to do simply by brute force. So over the years, over the millennia, they have really evolved a type of system that allows them to get what they need, to prove you are who you are, to know you're going to be there and be able to be a provider, and to do other things that are important in the relationship. Usually within the first month or so after you begin dating exclusively, because that's where she's beginning to invest herself emotionally and wants to know you're going to be there to support it as well. So how will you know when you're getting the test? Pretty simple, basically. There are just three things you look for. First, it's totally out of context, totally irrelevant to what you're doing, where you are, what you're talking about, etc. Number two, it's totally out of the blue. You can never expect it. And in fact, you really can't plan for the test either. The test will happen when it comes, and you have to be prepared to deal with it. Number three, it's designed to have you off balance. You will probably feel insecure, and you'll probably feel out of sorts because it is so out of the blue and you're not ready for it. Ultimately, again, this is designed to test who's going to be in control and power, so you want to have this one down for yourself. Now, let me give you an example of what a test is. Let's say you come home from work, you're exhausted, you sit down, you just want to watch some TV. And she comes over and sits next to you on the couch and she goes, "Honey, where is our relationship going?" Now, she knows damn well you're not really in a position to be able to answer that question, which is exactly why she asked it at that time. She knows that you now have to fish for it. One of two things are going to happen. You're either going to overcommit or you're going to lie to her. And what's the number one complaint women have about men? That we lie. When I get letters from women that tell me that their guys lie, my question is always, why do you set them up to do that? And that's another discussion. But the point is, the test, again, is out of the blue. You're not ready for it, it's out of context, and now all of a sudden you're on the defensive and you have to react to it. What a lot of guys do is they start stumbling, or they just are in a rush to answer the question. So, oh, well, honey, gosh, we're really growing, and, we'll get married someday. And that's what she wants to hear. Maybe that's not your goal. Maybe you haven't thought about marriage, but now all of a sudden it's on the table because you said it, simply because you weren't ready for it. We don't want that to happen. We also don't want you to have to lie. If you lie, then you have to deal with the lie itself, and that's a lot of work. We don't want to go that far. Here's a better way to deal with it. Instead, look at it as a test. You have to recognize the test is there. Then, simply deal with it as a test. Simply say, honey, I'm exhausted. I don't want to sit and talk about that right now. It's an important question. It's something we'll deal with later. But right now, I need to sit here and focus on the TV. And what you're going to find when you watch her is all the tension's going to bleed out of her face. Why? Because you effectively dealt with the test. Now, she's going to remember the fact that you told her you're going to talk about it later. So you had better take some time and think about what you want to say, where you want to go, and how you want to deal with it, because it will come back up. What I recommend you do is, instead of waiting for it to come back up, be proactive. You bring it up on your terms and your time frame, and then deal with it from that standpoint. And she'll think you're a damn genius, believe me.
This is Monica, and you're watching BAM TV.
In the next few weeks, you're going to start seeing a series of things we call hunting seminars, where you're going to actually look at it from the inside. I've got a group of guys you're going to get a chance to meet, and you're going to watch them go through what hundreds of guys all over the country have already done. We're going to build their game. We're going to give them new skills and techniques. We're going to show them where to find great women, how to approach them, how to get the things they want, dates, sex, and phone numbers. Imagine having the advantage. Imagine having the tools that give you the power. Well, that's what the hunting seminar is all about. Welcome. We're going to have some fun with the whole project, so we're glad you're involved.
I'm happy to be involved. I'm always looking to learn.
Well, we'll see if you feel that way when we're done.
Okay, I hope so.
Okay, so let's start with this. Tell me a little bit about your background. What's your
I was married, divorced about 5 years ago. It was a complete shock. I was not happy in the marriage, but I wasn't going to leave it. I was kind of steadfast. I was going to stay in there and
make it work, right?
make it work, and she wasn't willing to make it work. So she left, and...
Now, how long were you married, by the way?
10 years.
10 years. Okay.
10 years.
Any kids?
No kids.
Pets?
Cats.
Gerbils?
Got cats.
Cats, okay.
Got cats. She left me with the cats.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah, she didn't want to break up the cats. Us was okay,
Yeah.
but breaking up the cats was really
That
felt wrong.
harmless.
Felt wrong. Exactly.
Yeah, really.
I called her on that one.
Real humanitarian now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now you've been kind of free and single for 5 years.
Yes.
And you've been through a few relationships.
Few
now?
relationships. I've been with a few relationships, trying to figure out, literally trying to figure out what I did wrong the first time, because I know there's stuff that I just don't do right, and when I do it right, I don't know why it was right.
Right.
And I want to understand consistently what works and doesn't work, and not just leave it to chance.
So you want a system, is what you're saying.
I don't know if I'd call it a system so much as I want to basically understand. I mean, I actually, in my feeling, I believe that once you handle that, you handle a lot of things. Like you start to, relationship to relationships. If I understand how to work with women, I can work in job situations, I can work with a lot of things. It's all about social dynamics and how to basically relate to people and how to not let them, and basically, I don't want to say I have the upper hand, but really, I want to be able to be in charge of my relationships.
And in fact, you should be.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I find that women are really asking for today. But we're going to get more to that a little later. You mentioned something I think is so critical in the fact that you really want to get this pattern set up so that, because if you have good relationships, if you're in a situation where you're happy and your partner's happy, everything else in your life seems to work. But when you're having problems, nothing works, man.
Yeah.
Nothing works. So the idea is we want to try and give you some tools that will make all of those things happen, not only from the standpoint of finding women and getting numbers and dates, whatever, but converting to various things, converting from dates to sex and from sex to relationships. When relationships go south, which all of them do at some point or another, how to rebuild them and how to get things back and make sure that both partners are getting what they want.
Absolutely.
That's really the whole philosophy about being a man in the first place. So that's really exciting, and I think we're going to be able to give you a lot of tools on that and come up with something that will work just for you in your own personal way.
I'm looking forward to that.
That's great.
Cool.
So, you heard me ask before. Now, have you been married?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
For 9 years.
9 years. All right. Now, how long ago was that?
That actually, we divorced in '89.
89. So it's been a few years.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now, what's happening with the love life? I mean, have you been through a lot of relationships? You found like a couple of them you really worked, or what happened?
Yeah, I've been through a couple really significant relationships. I was engaged twice and managed to get my heart broken pretty badly last time in particular, which really, it's created a lot of problems in my dating life because I just associated, getting close to women with pain. So.
Yeah, I understand that, and a lot of times it is. Now, imagine though a system where you could actually have more control, where not only could you manage how deeply you get into the relationship, but you can actually manage a lot of her response to it as well. It would give you more power, more control, and more direction, wouldn't it? See, one of the things I see happening a lot of is that guys, more so than women, will get into relationships and invest themselves, because that's what we're taught we need to do. We have to woo the woman. We have to go ahead and build something for her to then fall into. And in fact, that's not really the way it works so much. Women are really looking for something to kind of direct a relationship, and we're going to talk about some of the tools to make that happen for you. But more importantly, we can give you a system by where you know how much to invest as you go. That's kind of cool. So if you get further into it and start realizing this is kind of what you're looking for, then you'll know that. More importantly, you'll know that there are certain things that she has that or doesn't have that you want. And we can talk about how to build those as well. So do you have any goals in mind of what you're really looking for? I mean, do you really want to be married again? Do you want to just date a lot? Or?
You know what? I suppose the final goal is just to have an amazing woman in my life, and not settle for something second best.
Exactly. Yeah, that's another thing too. How many guys settle? How many guys don't really know what they're looking for? So the first one that walks by, well, she's wet. I'll take her.